Hey everyone, it's Jamie. Welcome back, and if you're new here, then welcome. In this video, I will show you how I made this really cute witch hat wreath using the Dollar Tree witch hat wreath frame. So if you want to see how I made it, then please keep watching. I will be using one of these wire witch hat wreath frames from Dollar Tree. Now this is the larger frame that I purchased a couple of years ago from Dollar Tree, but I do know that Dollar Tree does carry these still, but they are a little bit smaller. So if you're going to be using the smaller frame, you will need to not add as many of the Cruffles. For the top of the hat, I will be using one roll of this black deco mesh that I got from Walmart on clearance for 75 cents and some zip ties. I'm going to start by taking the end of the mesh and gathering it up. Then with the zip tie, I'm going to attach it to the tip of the frame, getting it as tight as I can. Then I'm going to snip off the zip tie. Next, I'm going to flip the frame over. And I'm just going to gather the mesh. I'm going to gently pull the mesh down to the bottom of the hat. And with a zip tie, I'm going to attach the mesh on the wire going across the top of the brim. I'm going to get that as tight as I can, and making sure that the zip tie is facing the back of the frame. And then I'm going to snip off the end of the zip tie. Then I'm going to do the same thing by taking the mesh and making sure to keep the edges of the mesh folded to the inside and pulling it up to the top of the hat, then securing it with another zip tie. I'm going to do the same thing with the rest of the top of the hat, just taking the mesh and securing each row with a zip tie at each end until I have the top of the hat covered with the mesh. As you go along adding each row of the mesh, you will secure it with a zip tie down one side of the wire frame. So each row of the mesh will be a little bit shorter than the one before. I tried to keep the mesh as close to the tip of the hat as I could, but it is sort of a small space, so you will end up having the rows going down one side of the frame. I hope that makes sense. So each row will be in sort of a diagonal pattern, and each row will be just a little bit shorter than the one before. Here is what the top of the hat is looking like so far. Next, I'm going to take some pipe cleaners and start attaching them to the wreath. First, I add a pipe cleaner to each of the corners of the brim. I'm folding the pipe cleaners in half so that I have a guide as to where the middle is so that the legs of the pipe cleaner are even. Then I add one to the top and the bottom of the cross member of the brim of the hat. Then I'm going to add one to each corner of the bottom of the hat base. Then I add pipe cleaners along the top and bottom wires of the brim, placing them about 1.5 inches apart. I ended up with a total of 20 pipe cleaners, 9 across the top, 1 on each corner, and 9 across the bottom. To hold the pipe cleaners in place, I added a little bit of hot glue to each one. For the Cruffles, I will be using 1 row each of purple, orange, and green. This is 10 inches by 10 yards deco mesh, and I cut 7 orange, 7 green, and 6 purple to 25 inches long. To make the Cruffle, I unroll a piece of mesh and place something on the end to hold it down. Then at the other end, I roll it about 5 to 6 times. Then I use a clip to hold the roll. I then turn the mesh around and I roll the other end 5 to 6 times. Then from the middle, I walk my fingers up the mesh, pulling it toward me. I remove the clip and meet the ends together. This is how you form the Cruffle. Now it's time to add the Cruffles. You can start with any color you want. I chose orange. I'm going to start at the tip of the brim and lay the Cruffle with the edges of the mesh pointing to the outside, placing the Cruffle inside the pipe cleaner, then twisting the legs of the pipe cleaner 2 to 3 times. I flip the Cruffles as I go. Then I move on to the next pipe cleaner. You decide which color you want. I chose green, and I lay the Cruffle in a vertical direction with one finished edge towards the top and the other finished edge towards the bottom. I will continue adding the Cruffles, alternating colors as I go. Now here is how the wreath is looking with the Cruffles added to it. Next, I'm going to be adding ribbon tails to the wreath. I am using this 2.5 inch wide wired ribbon from Dollar Tree. You will need 2 rolls each. I will be cutting 10 pieces each of the ribbon to 14 inches long, and I will dovetail the ends of each one. You will have a total of 20 ribbon tails. I will be using this 1.5 inch wired ribbon from Hobby Lobby to make half bows. I cut 10 pieces at 14 inches long and dovetailed each end. First, I'm adding the ribbon tails. I'm taking the ribbon, folding it in half. This is to find the center, then gathering the ribbon at the center and placing it in the middle of the pipe cleaner, then twisting the legs of the pipe cleaner 2 to 3 times. Once the ribbon is in place, I am bringing each end and pointing them down so they are laying side by side. I will be doing this to each pipe cleaner, alternating the ribbons. Here is how it looks with the ribbon tails. Next, I will be adding the half bows. To make the half bows, I'm taking the 1.5 inch ribbon and folding it in half, then leaving about 1.5 inch to 2 inch loop at the top and then gathering it in the middle. It will look like an awareness ribbon. I will only be placing these in every other ribbon tail, so only the ribbon tails with the witch hats will get the half bows. I'm laying the half bow inside the pipe cleaner, then twisting the legs of the pipe cleaner a couple of times. Then I flip out the loop and straighten the tails, making sure the right side of one of the tails is turned where you can see it by giving it a little twist. And here is how the wreath is looking so far. Next, I will be using this mesh tubing that I got from Dollar Tree. I am taking the 4 mesh tubings and making a bow by placing them side by side, leaving about 2-inch tails, then making a loop about 3 to 4 inches long on one side and then making another on the other side. Then cutting the tubing, leaving about 2 inches for the tail. Then I'm going to place the bow in the middle of the ribbon tails without the half bows by laying it in the pipe cleaner and twisting the legs together. I will do this to the remaining ribbon tails. And here's how it's looking with the loopy bows. Now I'm going to add a loopy bow to the top of the hat by doing the same thing as I did with the smaller bows, only this one will be a little bigger with 4-inch tails and 4-inch loops. I will secure the bow with a pipe cleaner. Then I'm going to attach the bow by feeding the legs of the pipe cleaner through the front of the mesh to the back of the wreath. This does take a little finagling, but I was able to finally get the pipe cleaner through the mesh. Then I twisted the legs of the pipe cleaner about 6 to 7 times and then cut off the remaining pipe cleaner. I then turned the wreath over and fluffed out the bow. Next, I'm taking one of these witch legs door hangers from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to cut off the legs from the ring. Now I'm going to stuff both legs with some stuffing I had from an old pillow. You want to leave a little fabric at the top so that you can add a pipe cleaner to attach it to the wreath. So I'm gluing the end closed, then adding hot glue across the top, and then laying a pipe cleaner across the hot glue, then adding another bead of hot glue and folding the end over. Then I'm making sure to close the opening with hot glue. So here are the legs. To attach the legs, I'm going to turn the wreath over. Then I'm just feeding the pipe cleaner up under the bottom wire and wrapping each end of the pipe cleaner around the wire, leaving a little of the pipe cleaner ends, and then twisting the 2 ends together, then snipping off the remaining pipe cleaner. I will do the same thing to the other witch leg, leaving a space between the 2 legs. And lastly, I'm going to be adding the vase filler balls that I got from Dollar Tree to each of the pipe cleaners, alternating colors by sliding the balls down the tip of the pipe cleaner and adding a dab of hot glue to secure them. I add the hot glue after I've established a hole. I find it makes it easier to poke the pipe cleaners through the ball. Here is the wreath now that is all done. I think it turned out super cute. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I would love to have you. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I wanted to thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye!